Most people believe demons hate God the most. They think their anger is aimed at heaven and that their war is against God. But the book of Enoch points somewhere else. It does not place demons near heaven. It places them near us. According to the book of Enoch, demons are not fallen angels. They are the spirits of the giants, beings that once lived on this earth, walked on this ground, and ruled parts of this world with physical bodies. When their bodies were destroyed, their existence did not end. Their spirits were left behind, and the world they lost did not remain empty. Humans took it. We now live where they once lived. We build where they once ruled. We feel hunger, pain, love, and growth, while they can no longer feel any of it. They exist, but they cannot truly live. The book of Enoch suggests this is why demons focus on humanity instead of God. Not because humans are weak, but because humans are living the life they lost. And nothing creates hatred faster than watching another species take your place. The book of Enoch explains the origin of demons by first explaining the fall of the Watchers. These Watchers were angels assigned to observe humanity, not rule it. Enoch is clear that they were not created to live on earth permanently. Their role was limited, and they were meant to remain obedient. The problem began when they desired what humans had. They wanted physical experience, authority, and freedom on earth. This desire led them to cross a boundary they were never meant to cross. According to Enoch, 200 Watchers descended to earth under the leadership of Semjaza. They made a pact together, knowing that what they were about to do was forbidden. They took human women as wives and taught humanity knowledge that was not meant to be shared. This included weapons, warfare, sorcery, enchantments, and manipulation of nature. This knowledge did not uplift humanity. It corrupted it. Violence increased, and the balance of the world collapsed. From these unions came the giants, also known as the Nephilim. Enoch describes them as massive beings who consumed everything around them. When animals were no longer enough, they turned against humans. Bloodshed became constant. The earth cried out because life itself was being destroyed. This is an important detail because it shows that judgment did not begin with hatred. It began as a response to imbalance. God then ordered the archangels to act. Raphael was sent to bind Azazel, one of the main corruptors, and cast him into darkness. Gabriel was ordered to destroy the giants by turning them against one another. Michael was tasked with binding the Watchers until the final judgment. This part of Enoch shows that the punishment was specific. The Watchers were punished for their disobedience. The giants were destroyed because they did not belong in the natural order. But Enoch introduces something unusual at this point. When the bodies of the giants were destroyed, their spirits did not die with them because they were born from both heavenly and earthly origins. They did not fully belong to either realm. Heaven rejected them. Death did not take them. They were left behind on earth as disembodied spirits. This is where the book of Enoch defines demons. Enoch states that these spirits would roam the earth, causing harm, confusion, and corruption among humans, not because they were ordered to, but because of their nature. They were once physical beings who could eat, feel, dominate, and rule. Now, they could do none of it. They were aware of loss. They were aware of what they used to be. This awareness is key to understanding their behavior. The book of Enoch does not describe demons as soldiers in a war against God. It describes them as restless beings tied to the earth, unable to escape it. They are not attacking heaven because heaven is closed to them. Their entire existence is bound to the human world. This is why their actions focus on people, communities, and societies rather than divine realms. Enoch also makes it clear that humans were not punished in the same way. Humanity suffered consequences from the corruption, but humans were allowed to continue, rebuild, and grow. After the flood, the earth was cleansed, and humans were given another chance. This contrast matters. Demons were not given a second beginning. Humans were. This difference created a permanent division. Humans became the primary inhabitants of earth. They farmed it, built cities, formed families, and passed down generations. Demons remained present but powerless. They could influence, whisper, and disturb, but they could not create life or progress. They could only interfere with it. The book of Enoch frames this situation as a source of constant frustration for these spirits. They remember what it was like to have bodies. They remember authority and dominance. Now they must watch humans experience what they no longer can. Hunger, pain, love, fear, growth, and death are all human experiences. Demons are cut off from all of them. They are aware but incomplete. This explains why Enoch associates demons with corruption rather than direct destruction. They mislead rather than conquer. They weaken rather than rule. Their goal is not to take the earth back, because they cannot. Their goal is to damage what replaced them. By disrupting human life, they act out their resentment. Enoch's logic shows that demons see humans as inheritors of a world that once belonged to their kind. Even though humans did not cause their fall, humans benefit from it. This is enough to fuel hatred. Replacement does not require intention to create resentment. It only requires presence. The book of Enoch goes deeper by explaining how demons interact with humans after losing their physical bodies. It does not describe them as rulers or kings of darkness. It describes them as restless spirits, bound to the human world and dependent on it. They cannot create life, but they can interfere with it. This limitation shapes everything they do. Enoch explains that these spirits seek out humans because humans are the only living beings they can influence. They attach themselves to people, places, and actions, not to build anything of their own, but to disrupt what humans are building. This is why demonic activity in Enoch is tied to corruption, confusion, and moral decay rather than open domination. They work quietly, not openly. One important detail in Enoch is that demons gain satisfaction from human weakness, not because humans are inferior, but because weakness reminds demons that humans can still feel pain, desire, and fear. These are experiences demons no longer have on their own. By influencing humans, they experience these emotions indirectly. This creates a parasitic relationship. Humans live fully. Demons exist by feeding on fragments of that life. The text also suggests that demons are aware of divine boundaries. They know they cannot cross certain limits. They cannot return to heaven. They cannot undo their origin. They cannot remove humanity from earth. This awareness produces frustration rather than ambition. Their actions are not part of a grand plan to overthrow God. They are reactions to being trapped. Enoch connects demonic influence to social collapse. Violence, deception, obsession, and excess are described as signs of their presence. These are not random sins. They mirror the behavior of the giants before the flood. The same patterns repeat, but in quieter forms. Where the giants used physical strength, demons use influence. Where giants consumed bodies, demons consume order. Humans, according to Enoch, became targets because they represent continuity. Humanity survived the flood. Humanity rebuilt. Humanity retained God's attention. This survival was not accidental. It reinforced the idea that humans were meant to stay. Demons witnessed this continuation and understood that their own story had ended. The book of Enoch does not portray demons as ignorant. It portrays them as fully aware of what they lost and why they lost it. This awareness deepens their resentment. Ignorance would allow forgetfulness. Memory does not. Demons remember a time when earth belonged to beings like them. Humans now occupy that space completely. Another key idea in Enoch is that demons influence humans by amplifying existing flaws rather than creating new ones. They do not invent violence or greed. They push what already exists. This suggests that their role is not to replace humanity, but to distort it. A distorted humanity is closer to what demons want. A damaged inheritance feels like justice to them. Enoch also hints that demons prefer humans who seek power, control, and forbidden knowledge. These traits mirror the original sin of the Watchers. When humans repeat those patterns, demons feel validated. It confirms their belief that humanity does not deserve the world any more than they did. This belief strengthens their hostility. At the same time, Enoch makes it clear that demons cannot force humans. Influence requires consent, curiosity, or weakness. This limitation is important. It shows that demons are not masters. They are dependents. Their presence relies on human choice. This dependence is another source of resentment. They once ruled. Now they rely. The book of Enoch frames human moral struggle as a central battlefield. Not because humans are weak, but because humans are decisive. Every human choice either builds the world demons lost or damages it. Demons benefit only from damage. Creation reminds them of their failure. Enoch also emphasizes that demons fear judgment. They are aware that their roaming is temporary. This fear adds urgency to their actions. They are not working toward a future kingdom. They are acting within borrowed time. This makes their behavior more aggressive and more desperate. In this view, demonic hatred is not blind chaos. It is focused and emotional. It targets human dignity, purpose, and order. Demons aim to reduce humanity to something closer to themselves. The book of Enoch brings the story of demons and humans to its final and most revealing point by explaining why their hatred is so focused and personal. According to Enoch, demons are not wandering the earth aimlessly, and their existence is not eternal in its current form. Their presence is temporary, and they are fully aware of this. This awareness shapes their actions far more than simple anger or rebellion. They understand that their time to act is limited, and this knowledge drives the urgency behind every move they make. Demons, as described in Enoch, exist in a state of waiting. They are not seeking redemption, and they are not working to build a future for themselves. They cannot. Their end is inevitable, and they know it. This awareness produces a type of desperation. When a being knows it has no future, it ceases to care about long-term consequences. What matters is the immediate impact. In this way, their behavior is reactive rather than strategic. They are focused on influence and disruption, not creation or legacy. Enoch explains that demons aim to weaken humanity before the final judgment arrives. Their goal is not to defeat humans entirely, as that would be impossible. They cannot undo what has already been decided by God. Instead, they seek to corrupt humanity wherever they can. They attempt to sow confusion, fear, and immorality in human societies. By creating disorder, they feel a sense of satisfaction, as if they are reclaiming a small part of the world that was taken from them. A corrupted humanity becomes a symbol of revenge, a proof that their loss was not absolute. This hatred is deeply personal, because humans are not just the inheritors of the world. They are witnesses to what demons lost. Every human generation that survives, grows, and builds is a living reminder that life moved on without them. Demons cannot fade quietly into history, because humans occupy the space they were denied. Their constant presence around humans reflects frustration, jealousy, and unresolved grief. The contrast between human vitality and their own trapped existence creates a tension that fuels their actions. The book of Enoch also highlights a key difference between humans and demons: choice. Humans can make decisions, fall, recover, and adapt. We have the ability to change, learn from mistakes, and rebuild. Demons, in contrast, have no such freedom. Their state is fixed. They cannot regain what they lost, and they cannot create something new. This makes human freedom threatening to them. When a species succeeds in a world that a trapped being cannot influence directly, it deepens resentment and drives demonic interference. Enoch emphasizes that human behavior matters. Every act of justice, restraint, and moral awareness counteracts demonic influence. Demons thrive in chaos, indecision, and destruction. Stability and order are painful to them because they contrast with their restless and powerless existence. Every community, family, or individual that builds meaning in life becomes a form of silent resistance against their influence. This is why moral choices in human life are central to the spiritual battle described in Enoch. The book of Enoch does not present demons as rivals on equal footing with humanity. Instead, it shows them as dependent observers. They cannot create, they cannot rule, they can only feed on human weakness and exploit existing flaws. They gain nothing from isolated suffering. They only benefit when humans falter widely, when violence spreads, when families break down, or when corruption becomes normalized. In this way, their influence is parasitic rather than constructive. They distort rather than replace. Another key point in Enoch is that demons attempt to normalize chaos. They push humans to accept corruption, fear, and moral compromise as natural or inevitable. If humans begin to see destruction as ordinary, demons feel less out of place in the world. They want humanity to resemble their own state, not in body, but in spirit, restless, disconnected, and empty. This is why their attacks often focus on society, belief systems, and relationships, rather than direct physical harm. Yet despite their influence, Enoch is clear that demons cannot fully succeed. They cannot undo God's plan. They cannot cancel human inheritance. Even when humans fail, the earth remains ours, and the divine decision is permanent. This boundary is a source of constant frustration for demons. They cannot claim victory, only temporary disruptions. There is no closure for them, which keeps their anger alive and persistent. Enoch also explains that the final judgment will remove demons entirely from the human world. This is not a battle. It is described as a correction, a restoration of the natural order that was disrupted by the Watcher's fall. Demons know this removal is coming, which increases the urgency behind their current actions. Their hatred is intense not because they are powerful, but because they are desperate and aware of their limits. Every whisper, every temptation, every act of disruption is fueled by the knowledge that their time is short. This awareness makes demonic hatred very specific. It targets humans, not God. God is untouchable. Humans are tangible, living reminders of what was lost. According to Enoch, this is why demons hate humanity more than God. We exist where they cannot. We live fully where they are trapped, and we exercise choice where they cannot. Humanity is central to this spiritual narrative because our existence itself defines their resentment. But Enoch also gives humans a responsibility. Knowledge of why demons act as they do offers protection. Awareness reduces vulnerability. Demons rely on confusion, distraction, and moral compromise to maintain influence. By understanding the root of their hatred, humans can navigate life with greater clarity and resilience. Our choices shape the world in a way that either strengthens or weakens their influence. Ultimately, the Book of Enoch presents humanity as a test case. Can a fragile, temporary species inherit the earth without repeating the mistakes of the fallen watchers? Can humans grow, create, and thrive without falling into the same patterns of corruption that doomed the giants? Demons observe, hoping the answer is no, and their actions are fueled by this ongoing resentment. Every human life that succeeds challenges their existence and diminishes their perceived power. This perspective changes the way we view spiritual conflict. Evil is not random. It is not blind chaos. It is the manifestation of unresolved loss, jealousy, and resentment directed at those who live fully. Humans are not incidental participants. We are the focus. Our lives, our choices, and our inheritance are central to the narrative that began with the Watcher's fall. If this explanation from the Book of Enoch gave you a new understanding of demons, humanity, and spiritual conflict, take action. Like this video to support the channel. Subscribe for more deep dives into ancient texts and hidden histories, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe humanity has proven worthy of the inheritance it received, or are we repeating the mistakes that led to the fall of the Watchers? Your perspective could shape the next discussion.